Are you new to field recording, or maybe you just started out and want to expand your knowledge? Then this is the right video for you, because today I will share with you what gear you can use and also just some general things that I wish I knew when I started out. And at the end of this video I will actually share with you some free bonus tips about labeling your recordings, so make sure to stick around. Hey, my name is Jonas Fasching. I'm a music producer and field recordist from Switzerland, and right now I'm here in this beautiful forest in Bern, and right in front of me I have this gear that I want to show you. So the two most important pieces of equipment that you will need are a microphone and a recording device. So something that will capture the sound and something that will store the sound. So if the microphone and the recorder are combined, we are talking about a handheld recorder. And one example of a handheld recorder I have right here, this is the Zoom H5, and this is actually the first field recording device that I ever bought, and I still use it until this day. So as you can see, this is the microphone and this is the recorder, and they just get connected very easily up here, and you just have this one device which lets you record and store sounds. On the other hand, we have field mixers and separate microphones. So this right here is the Mix Pre 6 by Sound Devices and the Rode NTG5 shotgun microphone. Now as you can see, this is far less convenient than this recorder right here, because you also need a cable which will connect the microphone to the recorder, and I even have this bag right here which I can put the recorder inside. So it's a lot more stuff and it's also a lot more expensive. So if you're just starting out, a handheld recorder is probably the best solution for you. Now there are actually a lot of these kind of handheld recorders out there, also by other brands, by Roland, by Tascam or by Sony. And even Zoom has actually many different kinds of recorders. The H1 Essential, for example, is super small, and if you're really just starting out and want to try out some field recording, this might be a solution for you. Now the benefit that you actually have with the Zoom H5 is that you can actually change the microphone, so you can just buy another capsule. And you also have these connectors down here. So you can connect two microphones, external microphones, to this recorder, and it will act as a recorder like this one right here. It is actually now just starting to rain a little bit, and I actually checked the radar and it shouldn't rain today, but yeah, whatever. Now with microphones it gets actually really exciting. This one right here is the Zoom H5 XY capsule, and it is in stereo, so it will record a channel on the left and on the right. Now stereo microphones are actually especially good if you want to do some kind of ambient recordings, for example in a forest or in a city, and you just want to capture the general vibe around you. And with stereo you also really can locate something if something comes from the left and from the right. Now there are actually also different kinds of stereo recordings. The one example right here is two microphones which are located in the ORTF setup, and they're just like pointed out in an angle of 110 degrees. And if you do this kind of recordings, you have really very wide sound. If you do recordings with the XY capsule, you have a little bit more a narrow field, and the ambience is not that wide. It's still stereo, but I feel that with this recording you just get much wider sound. Now on the other hand, you also have mono microphones, like this Rode NTG5 shotgun microphone right here. So it only records sounds in the middle, and you don't have any information on the left or on the right side. Now mono microphones are better suited if you want to do some effect recordings, some Foley recordings, or also vocal recordings like I'm doing right now. Now in field recording there are actually many other fun microphones. One example is the Lohm Micro Uji right here. You can just clip it somewhere and record sounds this way, or a hydrophone which lets you record sounds underwater, or this contact microphone, the AKG C411. It's a very small microphone that you can just stick to a surface and record vibrations. And I actually also made a full video about this microphone, so if you want to hear how this sounds like, just check out this video right here. Now for the more advanced recorders amongst you, I also want to say that recording in 32-bit floating point can be actually really beneficial if you do field recordings. Now what 32-bit floating point lets you do is basically, if you record a sound and it clips during the recording because you set the gain too loud, you can still just reduce the volume in post and the clipping will not occur anymore. Now the Zoom H5 actually sadly doesn't let you do recordings in 32-bit floating point, but the Mix Pre 6 does do that, and also there are other handheld recorders which support this function. So for example, the Zoom H4 Essential is also a handheld recorder by Zoom which lets you record in 32-bit floating point. So now we covered different kinds of recorders and different kinds of microphones. The next most important thing that you will need is wind protection. Because if you're recording outside, even the smallest amount of wind will cause distortion on the microphone membranes. And the most typical wind protection is just a dead cat. So it's this furry thing right here that you just put on top of the microphone, and this will prevent distortion from happening basically. You will be always happy to actually just bring one of these dead cats with you for your recorder or for your microphone. Now also what you shouldn't forget to bring always is a SD card, so somewhere to actually store the recordings on, and batteries, so spare batteries that you can put inside of your recording device. And always it's good to have some tape, to bring some tape with you, because you will never know what can happen or if you will need some tape, and actually used tape quite a lot already to actually just tape a microphone to somewhere, or yeah, it's just always good to have a little bit of tape in your pocket. Last but not least, you also need something to actually listen to a recording while you record it. So a pair of headphones. These one right here are the Sennheiser HD25, and I really like these headphones for this purpose. Now if you buy a pair of headphones, what you should look out for is that they actually seal properly for sounds coming from the outside. So you will only hear the recording that you make, and also that they are comfortable and that you can wear them for a long period of time. Now actually listening to your recording while you record it is one of the most fun things in field recording, because these headphones, they act almost like a magnifying glass. When you put them on, you will hear the sounds much more clear around you, and you can really zoom in, and I think this is one of the most beautiful things, to actually just listen to the recording while doing it. So yeah, you will definitely enjoy your recording journey a lot more if you have a pair of good headphones. Now when you start recording, the first thing that you want to do is just listen to your recording and then adjust the gain setting on the recorder a little bit, so the recording is not too loud, so it doesn't clip. After that, just try to experiment a little bit with the placement of the microphone, so the angle really has a big influence, and also the height of the microphone. If you put it closer to the ground, you have far less higher frequencies, and up here you actually have a more normal hearing like we humans have. Now if you record for a longer period of time, it might be also nice to have a tripod or just something where you can put your microphone on top. Now the reason for that is because if you hold it, you will cause some handling sounds, and it's also just good to just leave your microphone somewhere and just walk away sometimes. Now the tripods that I'm using at the moment are this one right here, where my GoPro is on right now. It's by a brand called Yobi, and it's very small, and for example this recorder, you can actually screw it on top of it and just put it on a tabletop, for example. Now the other tripod that I'm using is the Manfrotto Nanopole. It's a very light tripod, so it's not a lot of weight to carry around, and you can actually also extend it to quite a long length and do recordings just where your head is basically. Another thing that you want to consider is your clothes, because the sound of your clothes actually will be audible on the recording if you're standing close to the microphone. Now the best thing is to wear something like cotton or just a fabric which doesn't cause a lot of sounds. So this is my rain jacket, and when I move, you can hear all the moving sounds quite well. And yeah, I think it's just something to keep in mind when you go out for recording. What clothes should I wear? Alright, so now I set up the SR3D binaural microphone just to do a short recording, and I really recommend you to actually listen to this with headphones, because this sounds so beautiful. And the first thing that I always do is to just say some things on the recording that you will remember later. So I'm just gonna say burn, forest, birds, far traffic, SR3D binaural microphone into Zoom H5. Alright, so now let's actually give it to Jonas in the studio, who is listening back to this recording. and who will give you the bonus tip that I promised you at the beginning of this video. To Jonas, who will give you the bonus tip. Oh, hey there. So now you're done recording, right? And what you want to do now is you want to stay organized. So Jonas in the forest was already kind enough to give me the information, and what I will do now is I will just listen back to these recordings. Fern, forest, birds. So what you have to do now is you just have to transcribe this and write this into the title of this recording. So let's do that right now. Now I always write as much information as possible onto these recordings, separated by a comma. And I try to have the same order always. So I'm always writing location, what type of recording it is, then all the things about what you can hear in it. And at the end, I will write what equipment did I use to actually do this recording. Now, if you want to search for the recording now, all you have to do is just type in the words right here into the search bar, and the recording that you made will show up there. Now, if you want to get really deep, there's also a thing called UCS, which is short for Universal Category System. This is a very detailed system to label your recordings with metadata. And this system is actually widely used all over the world by field recording and film sounds and Foley professionals. Now, if you use the system, you will be definitely safe, because if you now exchange your recordings with another person, they can use the same system and they know exactly what to look for. Alright, let's give it back to Jonas in the forest. So now you get the general idea how to actually do field recording. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. This video right here, for example, is a video where I went on a field recording trip using only the hydrophone, which I built myself, so the underwater microphone. And it's quite a fun video to watch, so check that out. And yeah, see you there. Thanks for watching.